Once upon a time, there was this girl, and she was a normal girl, and she had a name. Her name was Firefly. And she was a normal girl. She grew up in a family, but there was one thing that was abnormal about this girl, is that she was very sensitive. And she was very impressible. And this girl grew up, but unfortunately, she grew up in a very mean, cruel, and nasty family. Her sisters were mean to her mother was mean to her, and even her grandparents were mean to her. And they were cruel, and they were nasty, and they belittled her, and they made fun of her, and they were rude to her, and they were sarcastic. And she was always the butt of the joke, this little girl, and she was sensitive and quiet and shy. But they picked on her and made fun of her. And she was just an innocent girl, and she looked for comfort, she looked for help, so she went to the village. She went to the school, but they picked on her and made fun of her. She went to the hospital, but they picked on her and made fun of her. She went to the church, but they made fun of her, they laughed at her. And everywhere she went, she felt like she could find no relief, like she could get no help. And after going through the marketplace and the schools and the hospitals and the library and the village and out in nature and everywhere she could search and find for relief, for help, she was exasperated, and she was at her end, and she had given up all hope. And she finally went back to her own town, to her own village, to her own family, because she thought, maybe for one last chance they'll understand me, they'll get me, they'll be kind to me, they'll treat me fairly, they'll treat me like a human. But as she went back to the townspeople, they all gathered around her, and they began to yell at her and to swear at her and to curse her and to say all sorts of insults and mean things about her. And they surrounded her and stood over her, and she broke down. She broke down in tears, and she started crying, and she went into a little ball. And there was one thing that she asked God. She said, God, this little girl, she said, God, please turn me into a bird so that I can fly far, far, far away from here. And immediately, at once, God answered her prayer. And she turned into a bird. But as soon as she turned into a bird, she died. And right there in the center, in the middle of the floor, there was a dead bird. And all the people saw this happen. This girl just turned into a dead bird. And they kind of looked at it inquisitively, and they were curious. But they're all quiet and silent. And they just stood there and looked at this dead bird. And one by one, they all began to leave and walk away. And they didn't say anything about it or her, but she was forgotten to the townspeople. She was forgotten to her mom, forgotten to her sisters, forgotten to her family, forgotten to her grandparents, forgotten to the village people. She was forgotten and left behind. And one by one, they all left. And they left this dead bird just sitting there. And well, a little time passed, and there was a boy, a young boy about the same age, and he lived down the street far away, and they didn't really talk much, but they kind of saw each other once and again. And his name was Thomas, and he was a little boy. Well, he was there, and he walked by, and he took this little bird, he picked it up, put it in a shoebox, and he went out into the woods, into a little garden with flowers and tulips and daffodils and roses and lavender. And he went and he buried this little bird. And little boy Thomas sang a song over this little bird. And he said, "Oh, little bird, may you fly higher and higher. May you fly, and may you rest in the arms of an angel. And may you get angels' wings, and may they carry you on, upwards and upwards, towards your heavenly home, towards your heavenly Father. I let you go, little bird, fly, fly, fly away." And as soon as he sang his little song and did his little funeral to this little bird, he could see that this bird turned into an angel of light, And this angel of light had wings and a golden crown. And this little angel began to fly higher and higher into heaven, past the blue sky, past the clouds, past the stars. It flew into its father's arms. And Thomas smiled, and he was happy that she had found her place, that she had found her home. Little Firefly had found her way back